So you want to get slapped? Tune into this episode of the Gametime Guru Podcast as I'm talking to Mirza Berhamovic, who is a light heavyweight in power slap. Now, I've been interested in power slap, this whole sport, since it began because I also follow Dana White and I like the UFC and I enjoy what he's done. And I've just been intrigued by it, right? There's a lot of haters out there. If you watch it on social media, you see people up there slapping each other and it just looks like a concussion waiting to happen. So the comments are just flooding with negativity. But I've always been intrigued. There's been this interest in the back of my mind to find out more. Well, I put out a little social media post to say, hey, who should I have on the show? And my friend Clayton Fletcher actually recommended this guest today. It's Mirza Berhamovic, and I'm excited to bring him on the show today to share with you guys what it's actually like behind the scenes as you train for power slap. And now that he's had his first bout, he's going to talk to us about the actual promotion and stuff, like the production of it all, what it was like being there, the entire thing, and what it was like actually competing on the big stage and how it all went. So, and what he looks forward to doing in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This is my first time in 8.5 years of doing this podcast, having someone from Power Slap join the podcast. So get ready. This is the Gametime Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time!
This is the Gametime Guru Podcast, where I interview sports figures from all over the world to help deliver a panoramic view on sports. So whether you're a former athlete, one of the crazies, or simply a casual sports fan, this is the perfect show for you as we peel back the curtains and learn from our guests every single week. I'm your host, Shane Larson, and I'm helping you see sports through a different lens. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Gametime Guru Podcast. Shane Larson here, host of the show. Special opportunity for us today. It's my first in 8.5 years of doing this show. Never had this sport covered with an athlete here in this sport. So really excited to bring this to you guys. As you heard in the intro, we're talking about basically power slap, just the whole sport itself. And we're bringing on a man who has a little bit of experience now in this sport. His name's Mirza Berhamovic, and we're excited to have him on the show. Mirza, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, my man, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Heck yeah. I got to give a special shout out to my boy Clayton Fletcher as well for giving me the recommendation. My boy Clayton, I've known him for a number of years now, last decade or so, just because I worked with him at different places. And He hit me up and he gave me your info. He's like, man, you've got to hit this guy up. So I was like, dude, I'm doing it. So I got to shout out
my man Clayton. I believe we met. I'm with the United States. I think I met him I think it was the 5th grade, I think. And then we went to high school together and then became more buddies at that time frame. But he's the man. I've known him for a long time. He's always been a real swell dude, good guy. And now I'm glad he made the introduction, buddy. And then very thankful to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, it's awesome to have you on here, especially since, your ties to the Treasure Valley. For those who are listening all around the world, obviously the show's been downloaded all around the world, but we live in Idaho, so I'm in Idaho, and so there's the Idaho ties here with Mirza. So, Mirza, real quick, I want to, before we even get into power slap, I want to ask you, your background in athletics, and what your background is in just sports in general. Were you into martial arts? Were you into any of this stuff in the past?
Yeah, so I moved to the United States in 97. I was born in 1990. I was born in Bosnia. It was war in my country at the time frame, but we immigrated here legally and luckily became U.S. citizens with the family. But my folks, when we first got here, didn't have much money. I want to get into Kempo at that time frame, but classes were too expensive. So I ended up waiting until the 6th grade to get into wrestling. I went to Lewis and Clark Middle School. I think that's in Meridian.
Yeah,
Meridian, right?
Yeah.
And I started wrestling in 6th grade. Did that all throughout middle school. Then in high school, went back at it. Was a little on and off with it. Freshman year did it. Sophomore a little bit. Skipped junior, and then went back senior year. So the wrestling was part of it. But I actually started training MMA here at SPG Combat Fitness on Americana Street down in Boise downtown. I started in 2011. Did that for about just under 5 years on and off. Last time I was there was in 2018. But yeah, I did that for numerous years, and that's kind of the athletic background. I played some basketball here and there, but never anything truly competitive. But that's kind of my background.
For sure, it's interesting. Kempo. I actually trained Kempo back when I was younger. American Kempo. I was out of here in Meridian, but trained Kempo and did some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu myself back then. And then I boxed for Golden Gloves for 3 years. I love combat sports, and it's kind of cool to hear some of the things that you were doing. Wrestling, as well as MMA out of SBG and everything. So that's awesome. So here's a question I have for you. Okay. You're into power slap. So power slap, it's an interesting sport for me because I saw it come up and there's a lot of hate that went on there. Like if you ever like check the comment sections when Dana White took it over and was like, we're doing this thing, people are like, what in the heck? There's no skill to this. This is just concussion syndrome. This is, they're giving all the comments out. I guess my question for you, Mirza, is how did you even become interested in this as a sport?
I've always been like a passion of mine, just as a fan. Take away the training, take away anything. Not just as a fan of the UFC, Dana White and his work. I started watching the promotion back in 2003, 2004, and I just fell in love with it. Just a fan of mixed martial arts in general, but the UFC that promoted like in general, like just everything Dana White did and touched in that business was fascinating to me. And then about 3 years ago, Power Slap came about. I started engaging in it, clips here and there, but I thought it was cool, but I never, put too much into it. But then the last just about a year or so, I've been kind of more in tune, watching, and I just started seeing, like visually, I started watching the shows and seeing the sport of it. I know it's crazy. I know it's nuts. You stick your chin out, you get slapped, but there is a lot more rules that goes with it than a lot of people think. They think, anybody can just go up there and just full on slap somebody, and but there's so much rules that go in, fouls to stepping to a lot of stuff. They trained me at the Vegas camp, my first camp back in March, April. So I just started watching, and then this February, I just was like, hell with it, I'm gonna apply. I feel like I can do this, and they liked my story, interview, and here I was. So
wow. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, you mentioned rules. Let's talk about the camp first. Okay, so you go to this camp. Explain what the camp was like. Walk us through the camp.
Yeah, so I applied February. The camp, originally I was they almost offered me a spot at Power Slap 12, which was March 7th. And so I found out, I was like a couple weeks after I found out I was going to get, a shot in it. But they needed a last minute replacement, possibly if the guy didn't medically clear for my weight division, which is 205. And that didn't end up happening. So they got me in the camp. It was March 30th, I think it started. So it was end of March, early April that week. And they just fly you in, get you in Vegas, get you in a hotel, and they have you training at the UFC Apex, which was a dream for me. Like just entering that Apex, watching around, like it was fascinating. And they started training you each day. They went through the basics. They made you watch footage. They had the slap pads. They had the punching bag bob. And they just had the commission there as well, Mark Jackson. And they had 3 champions as our coaches. And they just broke it down step by step with what you can't move your feet. You cannot pivot. So you can lift it a little bit while you swing, but not too much. So it has to be standstill. And then with the slap, you can only hit right here, or it's considered, if you get low or higher, it's considered blocking or whatnot, or back. And then with the palm, like I said, your palm cannot be stuck out, has to be straight. So they watch everything. And those replays they have, like how much, Dana White owns Power Slap with, a few others. But all the UFC promotion media stuff is basically what they're using for UFC, is what they use for Power Slap. So those replays catch everything. The officials, the United States Athletic Commission, where I competed at, fantastic. And it's a mad game. It's crazy. And like I said, you got to be a little crazy. So I am a little, a little gone. But it's a sport for me, that the way I look at it now. And that's what that was. So the camp was amazing.
Oh, that's super cool, man. So with that, that's an intricacy there that I want to touch base on. Like you can't even pivot your foot. That's very contrary to most, combats. Any striking, right? Striking, You're typically going to pivot a little bit to get a little bit of leverage there and some power behind it. I guess my question for you, having been in mixed martial arts, having been in wrestling, was it a tough transition for you to try to get the technique down?
Yeah, it took me a little bit. That first day at camp, when we were training, I kept going by itself, like you as a boxer know, it's a natural instinct, so it took me a little while. The second day of camp, getting a little better. And then I just was practicing at home, and then I dialed it in, and then I made it concrete. So it took a little bit, but after you train every day constantly, you retrain, you rewire your brain to fit that Power Slap rule.
So how about this? Okay, this is so cool to me to kind of hear some of this. Sparring. I mean, in combat sports, you have a little bit of sparring because what they always say, Mirza, is like like anybody can hit a punching bag, and once you get used to the punching bag, that's cool, or hit mitts or hit a speed bag or whatever it might be, right? But it's different. One, it's different hitting a human being. That's why sparring is it's good for you to kind of get used to like the art of hitting a human being. It's weird because you don't usually hit human beings naturally. Like it's not what you're naturally supposed to be doing. But then two, getting hit is a whole nother thing too. So you have to kind of get okay with, understanding how to get hit. I guess my question is for you guys, because it's a lot of head striking. Do you guys spar against each other? Do you have an opportunity to get hit, or do you not face that until you actually get to an event?
So I didn't face it until I got to the event, and that's usually at the training camp. They didn't have that. We had the foam, the pool noodle. I'm talking about the little foam. Yeah. So that someone hits you to avoid flinching, because you can't flinch. If you flinch, you don't have to get a reach. The other person gets another restrike, or you could get a foul call. So but it doesn't justify what that slap feels like, especially being up there now as of 2 weeks ago. No sparring. I didn't want to rattle my brain too much and getting slapped before, just because, again, you as a boxer and everything, you can only take in so much, punishment. I know sparring, you can go, 20%, 30%, something like 50. You're not there to knock the person out. But for me, it's like I cannot emulate that, because if I get hit full on by somebody just to see if I had a chin, okay, what if he does knock me out, whatever I got, and then I have to go compete in a month or two? That could also impact me getting knocked out easier, So there is no real sparring for it, except just training not to flinch.
So
on the defensive side,
not to flinch though as well, like not to flinch. That's another thing. Not that you're flinching, but you head movement and just you're trying not to get hit in like actual fighting.
Right.
So was that a hard transition too?
Hell yeah, it was. It was. But when I just trained my mind to when I'm in the zone of it, especially like I fell in love with the sport, and fall in love with the sport, you fall in love with the rules, and I knew I wasn't going to flinch. I had like I said, been hit with the foam several times, but at the end, it just I just knew, like I said, I knew I wouldn't be flinching, and I did train my neck like constantly. I bought that iron neck. They talk about it in Joe Rogan. That we put up just to strengthen the neck, because it's stronger. As you know, as an athlete, the stronger the neck, the less likely again you are to get knocked out. But you got to, you either got it or you don't sometimes, And so I did all I could, gym wise and workout wise, to not get knocked out. But the flinching thing, I knew I wasn't going to flinch. I just when I decided I'm going to do it, I knew I wasn't. So
you just flipped it.
And some people, and then the sport constantly has people flinching. So it just even the guys who have competed several times still to this day do it at times. But it's I guess different for everybody.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's a natural instinct. That's just a piece of it. Like you mentioned earlier, the rules of the sport, it's actually pretty well regulated as far as the rule set. People think you're just going up there to like knock them out and it's just a free for all. No, there are some rules there that it's intricacies of the sport that make it a little bit more difficult. Yeah. But it's like well regulated. Like you said, they got replays and they can keep an eye on all that stuff. The way that your palm is is it can't be cupped. Yep. It's got to be flat. So talk to me about this. Like when you knew you were going to have do you call it a match? Do you call it a fight?
I call it a bout. That's what I said.
Bout. Okay. Yeah. So when you got your contract to do the bout, right? You're ready to go. You signed the deal. How many weeks did you have to prepare for that? Did you do a camp, so to speak, like training up until this?
I didn't know. Like I said, I went to that Vegas camp. Let's say beginning of April, but I didn't know they didn't release the event. This Power Slap 13. It was on June 27th, but they didn't let me know until about 4 weeks before the event, approximately. So I just after the camp, I just trained at home at the gym. I have a slap pad. I have like I said, Bob, and I just kept training until they got the call. And I already signed the contract back in February. But so it's kind of like the UFC, how they do to the fighters. You just wait for that call. And the contract does state. So I signed a 6-fight deal. And it does state on there they have to offer you at least once a year. So,
okay.
So in between that time, you can be, they can call you, hey, we need you in 2 weeks to be a replacement. Can you do it? Or they give you a few weeks heads up. So I just had about 4 weeks. To
4 weeks. Really. And tell me this though too, because I saw one of your interviews that you did. You walk around at about 217-ish, 217, 220. Yeah. You're a light heavyweight in this division, so 205 is what you're competing at. Is it similar to normal fighting where you got to cut weight to make sure you're down there at a certain level, or how does it work?
Yeah, I cut weight. So luckily, again, being a power slap athlete now, I also get access to the UFC facility. So I was actually at the UFC Apex and the UFC PI, Performance Institute. I was able to get in there, use all their. So like I said, I was in the sauna talking to Dominic Cruz about the weight cutting. Yeah, it was dope. I mean, I saw a whole bunch of the UFC guys in there, but you got to remain. For me, it's like I'm in there. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you gotta take a picture. This, I'm a fan, but I'm not gonna fanboy in there. But it was cool. Just use the sauna, the hot tub, and the cold plunge. And honestly, the weight cut, I haven't cut weight in many, many years, so I didn't know how I was gonna be, because originally, like, let's say January of this year, I was around 255.
Oh wow!
So I gradually cut weight. So at that camp, I was like 227. So that was April, and then I just kept a clean diet, worked out, and ultimately just cut the weight cut. I was 205 weigh-ins. The next day I weighed around 216. I filled up liquid, so it was an easy cut, to tell the truth. So because of the UFC Institute, they give you everything you need. So
you have access to all that, but it does still take discipline. I mean, you still got to execute on the whole weight cutting portion of it. But that's something I don't know if people realize, is that you do have to cut weight. I mean, that there's a weight class for these things too. That's why it is regulated. It's not a free for all. Super cool too. Like, you're a fan. I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts, the UFC. I love BKFC. I love all of it. Like, I've been a fan of all the sports. With the UFC, I have a mad respect for Dana White as well. So I think it's cool that you have that. I would have probably had a hard time not fanboying, man. At 36 years old, I probably still would have been.
Like, trust me, inside of me, I was just eyes open. I was like, oh my God. Forrest Griffin in the locker room saying what's up to him. It just, what's his name? Charles Oliveira was, when I was doing the poster signing, he was right next to me over there. I'm like, geez, this is nuts. Like, they treat you just like a UFC athlete. You're in there doing all the media stuff, obligations, poster signings, camera, photos, all that bollocks. But you do it right next to the UFC guys, and that was International Fight Week. So June 27th was our power slap. The 28th, Saturday, was UFC with Ilya Topuria versus Charles Oliveira main event. So.
Oh wow, dude, that's so cool, man!
Yeah, wow.
What a cool opportunity that is. Just being closely connected. Now, the actual event itself, I wanted to touch base on this with you. I'm curious, so I'm glad I get to talk to you. Like, the actual production of the event, what is it like? Is it, here, let me break it down this way. Sometimes if you go to like a regional mixed martial art event that's not like top notch, it's one of those regional events. Depending on the budget of certain, venues and certain promotions, some can be really rinky dink and some can be really good, like well produced and stuff. What's it like for Power Slap? What's the actual production, the walkout? How does it all go? Does it feel pretty professional?
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about. Like, sometimes the locals or different promotion. Yeah, it felt like you were inside a UFC promotion. Like, that's it. From the media obligations to the back, to the waiting in the back, doing the entrance. They had your music. They had like all that. When you're out there on that stage, they had an announcer. Michael Bisping is calling my fucking fight. He's one of the guys out of the three. It's I have Michael Bisping, the count, calling my fight, like my bout. I shouldn't say fight, really, but and then so the media. I mean, they have cameras everywhere. It's just everything they put in the UFC is what they put inside the Power Slap stuff. So I was in the early prelims. So what they do with Power Slap, they have an early prelim card. They video it, they tape it all, but they don't do it live like they do in the they have the main card, the prelims. That's all live on YouTube. But ours was just because there are some guys that have competed prior in the early prelims, but majority of it's getting guys used to being on stage and knowing the rules, because they don't want to release it. They'll have a bunch of people just fouling left and right. So my fight will be released here in the next coming weeks, I believe. If not within 2 months, I believe. But yeah, it was amazing, man. It was an experience of a lifetime. You feel like a superstar up there, and you just take it all in. And that's what I did.
So going out to it, my question for you would be this too. You got the lights on you. It's a pretty cool production. Feels like you're almost like a UFC athlete. But I mean, here you are, big stage. There's cameras. Michael Bisping, all the things you just mentioned. How do you calm your nerves then, Mirza, so that you can actually execute on that?
For me, it just was a switch. I loved it up there. I loved the entrance. I just loved being on stage. The warrior inside just took over, and there was no nerves. I was just there, sinking everything in, taking advantage of the moment, the cameras, and I just went with it, and I guess that's based off whoever's up there. But for me, it was I felt alive, and it was one of the most I was so passionate about this, and being up there is just I have never felt more alive, honestly. So it was amazing. So
that's so dope, dude.
Yeah.
So you had never been like slapped because you had talked about that's not what you were doing in sparring. So walk me through the first time getting hit. Like what was it? Was it like, sometimes in boxing it would be like you hadn't sparred for 3 months and all of a sudden you're back into the training and get popped and you're like, ooh.
Yeah. And
then to me it was like, yeah, like you almost get this like you're like, okay, I love it now. I'm back. I don't know. Maybe that was not the case. I would like to hear what you think.
So I haven't been properly hit since 2018. And I was just in training, so it's been a really long time. So if you don't get used to that, it is, and like I said, I cannot emulate too much because listen, I cannot get hit too hard to not ruin. Like even if I got hurt during sparring, let's say sparring, that could emulate, that could affect me actually getting knocked out on stage. So my first hit. So my opponent, they do a coin flip basically a week before the fight date, and I keep saying fight, but whatever. And so he won, so he got to go first. So I'm up there, he's going first, and after he hit hard. He hit really, really hard. He hit me so hard. I mean, like I said, I didn't buckle. Like I got hit, and it hurt. Like instantly, it was like holy shit. Now it wasn't like holy shit. I'm like wobble or anything. Like I took the hit, boom, turned around. I was like, and inside my head, I was like, fuck, it gets you. It's but also I'm like, okay, I'm up. Let's get it going. No, I'm next. So it stunned you for a second, but then it's how you react going forward. So it was I wouldn't say surprising, but it was definitely something. Now that I've been through, it's like, okay, now I know what to expect. So
totally.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh man. So I think a lot of people are like me. I would rather be punched with a fist than being slapped. There's something about the sting that just like pisses me off more than anything. Did that feel the same way to you? Like having been able to be punched back in the day compared to being slapped, or what?
I mean, even in sparring stuff, you always, try to move. You go with the roll a bit, try to block. Like here, it's like my hands are behind me, my chin is sticking out. I'm flexing as hard as I can. My neck, whatnot. But you gotta, you cannot put it down. You gotta give him that. The ref is right there calling it, and it was different. And getting slapped, some people, you only get slapped. No, man, there's people when they hit you, it feels sometimes even harder than a punch. It rattles, it goes, and that's why so many people do get knocked out. But looking back, I enjoyed it. Now I know what to expect, so it was cool.
Do you just chomp down on the mouth guard then and just?
Oh yeah, so chomp down. I worked on my traps a lot, like the neck, the traps, and it worked, I guess. And I got a pretty big dome, so it was wild though. But it hurt. I'm like, that first one hurt. All three of them that he threw hurt, but I was never dazed or anything like that. So
it's pretty cool that you were able to last three, and then like you gave your own. I'd be curious, working on it. This is your first event. How did you feel your slaps went for yours that you were dishing out? So
he went first. Okay, I hit his, but like I said, that's kind of wakes you up, but also makes you alert. Then I went and my slap, that one affected him, hurt him bad. He stumbled back, and there's like video on my IG that I had from the crowd there, and he got hit and he got wobbled and he was falling back, and he had to get caught by the commission wise that just they catch it so he doesn't fall off stage or anything. So I hurt him pretty bad. So I definitely won the first round, and then he hit me, and then the second time I hit him, and we just went back and forth. So. And then on the third one, he ate it, and then I was with the crowd, getting them to chant my name and whatnot. I was excited. And then my dumb ass, on the last lap, I hit him just a little below. So I believe it was. Again, I have to wait till it's fully released through Power Slap. So I ended up getting called called club, which is a foul. So they deduct points from it. So that basically gave him the victory because of that. That was a little monumental mistake, but it's a learning lesson. So I was just looking back at it, like thinking back, I just was a little too close compared to the first one. So and then it went how it went, but it was due to technicality. I felt like I lost, but also he hit really hard and he was tough too. But he almost got knocked out that first one though, and like I said, looking back at everything now, I know what to do differently and to get that knockout.
Yeah, it's a learning opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting. Like, I don't even know how they base like who wins, who loses a round. What if you both don't even react? That's where I'm like, is it just up to the judge's discretion at that point?
They have the 3 judges scorecard, just like the UFC. They score each round. They score on reaction. They score on technique, power, force, how if it wobbles the guy or whatnot, and yeah, so
cool. No, that's super dope, man. And so I'm sure you were on a pretty big high. Did you have any like recovery that was needed where you swelled up at all? Or
like I said, the dude hit really hard. He hit really hard, but like I said, for me, I wobbled him, got his leg shaking. He never did that to me, but he definitely hit me hard enough where it swelled up. So I just had to ice it. Like I said, it's all good now. It was this side, but it took a few days just to go down swelling, but that was it, just swelling. So
super cool,
man.
Man.
There was a little scratch cut, but it was nothing. But it was fun. Yeah.
That's so cool, dude. It's super cool to hear like how the whole thing breaks down. And you mentioned you had a 6-fight contract, and they're obligated to give at least one a year, is what it sounded like from you. So I guess my question to you now, Mirza, is what's the plan moving forward with the sport? I mean, obviously you're probably continuing on. You're looking forward to the next times to go. Do you plan on are you intending on, you'll fulfill this whole 6-contract deal, the 6-fight contract?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I took this was just about 2 weeks ago I was there. So last week and this week I took off the gym. I was before that, I was on a strict diet, all that, and working on every day. But I wanted to take 2 weeks off after my bout just to get normal again up there. But on Monday I'm hitting back to the gym, working on my new slap and making the adjustments I need. And I'm just like I said, I'll notify the promotion. I'm ready to go whenever they need me. And they have a couple of them coming up. They're going to do more and more each year. So they have the Power Slap 14. That's New Orleans. That's in next week or so. So I knew I wasn't going to be in that one. But they have another couple coming in October in Vegas. And I know they have some in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. And so if I get the call this year, that'd be awesome. If not, early next year.
So dope, dude. So dope. So my question here as we wrap it up then is, what's the biggest lesson you've learned thus far in the whole process, whether it be from the camp to the actual event itself to the learning lesson from losing? Like, what is the biggest lesson slap boxing, or power slap, I should say, has taught you?
What to expect up there when you get hit. So now I know how it feels to get hit. Now I know that I can take it. Again, he hit me with 3 lethal shots, and it didn't faze me. So I know I can now. You have to go through it to fully feel confident. I feel that confidence now. I know how to react better to the slaps, and most importantly, my slap. Like I said, the first one was good. Like I said, almost knocked him out. But the last 2, I made the mistake of just going too close, and my slap was more inside instead of out. So I know the adjustments I have to make to give a proper slap, more effective. Just experience up there teaches you, hey, what to do next time. So that's the main thing. Just adjusting my slap, and knowing the fact that I can take these hits.
So awesome, man. It reminds me of a quote from the movie Green Street Hooligans when the guy says, once you take your first punch, you realize you're not made of glass. And all of a sudden, like, you get this confidence. And I always remember that. Sounds like you're kind of like talking about that. Like, once you get that first hit, now you're not made of glass. You know what to do. You can take a shot. And it almost develops this excitement around it. It sounds like you're excited to do it again. You want to get back up there, that rush.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how I feel, man. I'm excited to get up there. And then, like I said, I'm excited to keep practicing this new form, new slap. Now that I know with experience, I'm ready to go in there and get the knockout. And I feel confident that's going to happen, but I'm excited for the whole experience. It was truly the best thing that's probably happened to me in a long time when it comes to this kind of excitement. It's a mad game. It's wild, but I fucking love it. So it was amazing.
Love it, dude. Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, you got a fan in me. I'm going to be paying more attention to the sport, and I'm going to be less critical. In fact, I'm going to probably defend it a little bit more now that I have some insight. I'm not so ignorant to the sport, because I always see the comments. I always see the haters. What's this and this? But now that I've actually had an opportunity, one, I was watching through stuff during the last power slap because you were going to be part of that. And then I watched your Instagram and stuff, but now I'm gonna have another reason to keep watching it and learning about the sport, which is why I love doing the shows. I get to interview people.
Absolutely. So, well, hey, you'll have all the insight from me, brother, anytime. And like I said, I'll let you know when the next one is scheduled, and we'll do more of these. And like I said, I can't guarantee victory, but I almost can. So I'm excited for it. And I'm happy that you're more involved with it, brother. And I think the sport's only going to grow more and more with Dana White behind it. From what he's said, and And usually what he says, it happens. So he said this sport's going to grow bigger than the UFC now. That's a long ways to go, but if he says it, I believe him. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, stoked to have you on here, Mirza. I appreciate your time, brother. And I hope everybody else who's tuned in also appreciated it and has taken notes and is looking forward to watching it as well. So I just want to say thank you for joining the show, man.
Oh, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. You're awesome, brother. Nice chatting with you. And thank you again.
Likewise. For all those listening, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We'll be coming to you next week with another interview. Take care. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.